What up? What up, Facebook? You already know it's your boy Triple Black, aka the number one stunner, aka the boss, aka three black hearses. It's murder. Anyways, man, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening, man? What's going on? What's going on, man? Man, I just had to. I just kept seeing this thing about Dr. Boyce Watkins and going after was it Kwame Brown? Kwame Brown and Dr. Boyce Watkins, I guess, have some pressure with each other. I don't even know what it's all about. But I think what it's about. I think Dr. Boyce Watkins is actually protecting Charlemagne. Because Charlemagne actually put. I think Dr. Boyce got put on the map by Charlemagne. I'm pretty sure about that. Because he did the Breakfast Club and all that type of stuff. So, hey, but anyways, man, make sure you guys like that. I'm at 5,000. You already know what it is. Hey, 5,000 on the strength of I don't even know. I think it's the mixtapes. But anyways, I don't even do that much content. Shit, I'll be on most other people's panels and shit like that, man. But shout out to the whole atmosphere, man. Shout out to Platinum Elite. Shout out to um what's it was Sir Ism. Shout out to all those cats, man, that be putting out that content. Some of them I don't agree with, man. Shout out to one guy I've been listening to, and damn, I was gonna say, damn, hey, people used to get mad at me for going so goddamn hard, but this dude go hard as a motherfucker, like little big Nate, little big Nate. Um, I don't fuck with a lot of his political views when it comes to that whole conservative shit because I don't really believe in all that. But I'll just put the link in the chat, man. And if anybody want to pull up, man, chop it up with your boy. You already know. Nah, I mean, man, shout out to everybody out there, man. Even O'Shea, Kevin Samuels, all those guys. They're doing something, man. They just putting out information and shit, man. Shout out to Tommy. Shout out to Angry Man. Shout out to everybody, man. Red Supreme. Um, there's some consistent content creators, and I give them, all the props in the world because they're able to come in and day out and put this information out here. And I know a lot of people, get mad at them. The sisterhood, they be coming out there trying to flex on people and shit like that. Shout out to shout out to everybody, man. There's a couple cats on there, man. Shout out to Big Truck. Yeah, he be on platinum shit. Um, I fuck with him. I fuck with him. Uh, I think he says some shit that a lot of other people don't think. I mean, there's a lot of diversity, and the thing about it is, it's like people don't understand about the manosphere, man. You just brought the freaking barbershop, to the internet. And, there's a lot of people that are shocked, by some of the stuff that we be saying and stuff. It's pretty simple, man. It's pretty simple. Um, at times, I do think it gets counterproductive, but there was one guy I was listening to. His name is I think it was Rollo or something like that, and he had Ty City. Shout out to Ty City. Shout out to both those guys. You know, he was talking about the whole structure, but he was doing it in a way of like a conspiracy theorist type of thing, and I made a video months ago about that type of shit, man. Because you kind of see, you kind of see the stuff where it's going and stuff like that. Everybody plays a part in that whole thing. Um, all it is right now is a changing of the guard of the black media. The black media, people are getting pushed out the way. It's a new day. That's all this is. It's a this is red meat for a lot of people. Kwame versus was it uh, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Basically, he's an extension of Charlemagne the God, and because he's all in that same thing, and he had to kind of speak, kind of show his allegiance and stuff like that. Uh, and I mean, if you can kind of step away from it and look at it for what it is, and you know what market it is, like I was actually on uh, Platinum's channel. We was having a discussion with Boyce, about Boyce and how he's uh, how he's marrying that one lady, and people don't understand why he's marrying that one lady. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, it's his core demographic, and it's good for his brand. It's definitely good for his brand, and he's part of that little inner circle that Charlemagne kind of has built. Um, and you got to understand, he's in negotiation, probably, or maybe not, the way that I thought they would probably. I mean, it almost sounds like he was probably ready to go venture out on his own, because we understand how media is getting consumed now, and there's trends. There's podcasts. That's what people are doing. People are doing live streams and stuff like that. Interacting with the fans and things like that. It takes a certain amount of uh, of skill to be able to do that, and the what's crazy about it is I think, like Charlemagne them, because he's part of, I want to say, the old media. The old black media is like Tom Jarner, um, Steve Harvey, um, those guys like that old, like Ricky Smiley. That's the old black media, the radio, terrestrial shit. That's pretty much, unless you're driving to work, you're not really listening to them. Ricky Smiley show. They used to have like comedians and all this type of stuff. They're not really relevant to the consumer, because nobody's really, radio advertisement is probably suffering right now. Most of the real effective ads are on these different spaces like TikTok, Instagram. That's why, for instance, Kevin Samuels does a lot of Instagram stuff, and I can almost guarantee you that is way more lucrative than going on like YouTube and things like that. I guarantee you it's way more lucrative, and plus they're a little bit more lenient on the content. But and where I'm going with this is there's a real changing of the guard. I mean, there's a real changing of the guard, and you know, that's why you see all these, like, these little fights and stuff like that, because they know what's going on. They know what's going on, and like somebody like Boyce Watkins is smart enough to understand you need to get your name attached to this whole fight. I mean, they love. I mean, this little fight of cool versus lame. It's red meat. It's red meat, especially in the men's spaces and stuff like that. It's red meat. Kwame is a cool guy, and Boyce Watkins is a lame guy, and Boyce Watkins understands that. He understands that. So, keep your name in the public. I think, was it, there's one, uh, was the principle of the, uh, was it the 48 Laws of Power, court attention at all costs. He's just basically courting attention, and I think Kwame's doing the same thing too. But the thing about Kwame, I can't say, um, he got famous because he was, especially in these things, because he was organic. He wasn't scripted. He wasn't placating. He wasn't pandering, and that resonated with the audience. So it was like something real. You know, um, and I think that right there was a catalyst for a lot of what's going on, especially in the manosphere. It's getting way more popular. You had like look at Fresh and Fit, um, and they do were more appealing to a younger audience. Like more like the high school, going to college, those type of things. They they are much better at that. Much better at that at reaching that core audience. But it's I want to say it's profitable when it comes to like super chats and live audiences. Because one thing men like to do, if you notice, men like to show out. Especially like if you go to a strip club or something like that, you see some women and you want to show out. So that's why you see like in those you know super chat things, they're sending like 500,000, not thousand but 500 and all that. You got people that's sending it round the clock all the time, and I question that. It's just like when you go to the strip club and then they have like a celebrity coming through, and the strip club gives the celebrity money. It's not their money. Don't believe that for a minute. Like somebody like Rick Ross comes through, Future comes through, those clubs are giving the money, because they know it's an investment. Because if you go, let's just say you got Future, he goes to Magic City, and you got Magic City, and then Future's just throwing out money like crazy. There's people that want to be Futures. You might have a D boy in the city or whatever that got low key, got a lot of money, got a lot of bread, and say shit, he wants to let everybody know how much bread he got too. So when you see Future throwing money, he wants to get that crowd also. So it's one of those things, and it's like a frenzy. He's throwing money. I want to, then somebody else from a different clique, gets up there and throws a whole bunch of money. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Um, um, back to the Boyce Watkins versus Kwame. Is basically the changing of the guard. Is basically the changing of the guard. And I think Boyce Watkins is trying to get a piece of that. I tell you what, Boyce Watkins, believe it or not, he's getting trampled on a little bit, but I think he he's he's going to. I mean, he is actually filling a certain need in the manosphere. I know if you ask a lot of manosphere people, they would probably say Boy Watkins is not really that, but you know. Uh, he's feeling a need for the manosphere, basically. I mean, even though he's not very entertaining, I watch him. He's not very entertaining. He's like a teacher, professor, or whatever. Doesn't have a lot of pizzazz. Doesn't have a lot of swag. He's just kind of boring and dry. Um, when I listen to him, at least, he's not very salacious, which is fine. Even when he tries to be salacious, it just comes off as really corny and like trying too hard. Um, but he's remained relevant. He's remained relevant to that old crowd, and he's sticking around. I mean, he's basically um, the only one really in that sector. That he's the only one in that sector. And if you look at a lot of his disciples, they're mostly sisterhood, and they're still relevant in this space too. So by extension, he's kind of a little pioneer, a little bit for that whole niche. The um, I don't even know what you call it. It's like the was it a Vicky Dillard type, that that uh, demographic. The one that is that just kind of it's kind of in the same. I wish I could articulate it better. If you know what I'm talking about, it's maybe like the more academia type, PhD type woman, and Kevin Samuels is the more of the, you still have maybe high income earners, but um, it's more, they're more of the let me rethink how I can say this. They're more consumer. I think they're more consumer based, more superficial. And I think with Boyce Watkins, it's more of the independent one, but it's probably like more of divorcee, the one that, maybe been divorced, they were married for 20 years and they're trying to, they got some assets, maybe from a marriage, maybe got a house, and then they're just trying to protect it or level up. It's more about financial independence, and I would get a man, but I don't really need one, and um, I want like a, basically like a 50-50 partnership, you know, 50-50 partnership, not really stepdad, but kind of, that whole thing. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's very hard to articulate that core demographic. Basically, what he married. Basically what he married. That's what his core demographic is. Um, Kevin Samuels is basically, he caters to more of the basically the ladies the ladies that all that were actually birthed by all these that one, level up divestment swirling community. Like those are like his core audience right there, like the offspring of those. That's why he gets, they go in there and they all try to argue with him, because what's what the funny part about it is you have these scammers, like, like the wig in the forehead, and that bubble lip, I don't know, super fucking hero. I don't know what her fucking name is. Every time I look at her, I mean, she's a beautiful chick. I like the fucking shit out of her, but damn, she's just repulsive, like completely just disgusting to me in like from a person standpoint, because she's just, I don't know. She may be a nice lady, and that might be just an act, but damn, that bitch is just like, she just, I don't know. Her spirit is just terrible, terrible. She's just like a terrible, she's like a terrible human being. But anyways, they what's so funny about that shit is like because they're basically scam artists. They're just scamming these broads and telling them a bunch of dumb shit, and they they've been, buying these courses, buying that shit, and ain't nothing happening. So they're probably starting to question it. So they go to Kevin Samuels to kind of try to get a resolution. And but they still have that, all that bullshit, that learned bullshit that they got from those level up queens or whatever you call them. They get all that shit from them. So every time they go to Kevin Samuels, and they give pushback, and even though the shit that they're doing is not fucking working, and they've been listening, to people telling them, hey, you know what, somebody is going to save you and your three kids, and despite, like, the three baby daddies, they're going to save you, and it's not happening for them. They've been probably doing that shit for years, and nothing has come through. They uh the dangerous part about that whole thing is, um there's really no security in it. um the Because I've seen it firsthand. Those chicks can, get like they can get sugar daddies. They can get sugar daddies. They can get old motherfuckers that they're not really sexually attracted to or attracted to in general, to give them, shit. But there's always an expiration date on it, um, because they'll either do some dumb shit to fuck it up for themselves, or the old dude will try to find something a little bit younger eventually, and cut them off. And but the fact that they were able to experience it kind of leaves them delusional for a long ass time. But the thing about it is a lot of times those guys won't they will never marry those chicks. They may, maybe if they can afford it, they can, they'll put like a ring on it, or propose to them, but they never have any intentions of marrying them. They just probably leaving them on because, you know. And the thing about it is those broads know there ain't no goddamn security in that shit. There's no fucking security. Get in the ring. That's why they go up to Kevin Samuels' show, always talking about they've been proposed to. No, that's just a placeholder. That's not a real proposal. Because if it was a real proposal, they'll be like, let's go and get married or whatever. They want to keep you. But nah, I mean, it's just, because I mean, there's a lot of layers to this shit. Because you'll have family. Uh, you got to understand, like a lot of these women will be jealous as fuck of each other, and what they do on a subconscious basis is they basically try to fucking derail whatever that they're not getting. So, example, when one of these level up chicks, um, um, they have friends and shit like that, and then they do a whole bunch of bragging, and you'll have the one that is not quite getting the benefits that the 40-year-old broad that has BBL, and she still got shit. I mean, she still got a shitload of kids and problems, and she might make some good arm candy, for some dudes that have the means to do it. They'll buy them shit. They'll send them send them on trips and shit like that. That's fine. Fly them out, and they don't really have any intentions. Because I mean, the threat. I mean, especially with some of those old tricks. I mean, the threshold for them to get that type of shit is very easy because there's so much thirsty ass motherfuckers out there that's willing to just do anything. Just in the name of having some pretty bitch around them. So they'll do that, right? And then you'll have the angry bird start saying, "Oh, you need to do this. You need to make him do that." I mean, it's disguised as probably advice, but it's mostly jealousy. They want to see that. They don't like seeing that shit. Nobody wants to see like especially those women. They don't want to fucking see somebody happier than them. Fuck out of here. So they'll put a whole bunch of shit in the fucking broad's head. She can just sit down, enjoy the fucking money while it lasts until he gets a new bitch or a younger bitch or more cooperative bitch, whatever. Nah, but no, no, they don't do that. So what they end up doing, they fuck it up somehow, and then maybe some of the simps will propose. It depends on um what the proposal is, and buy some time. They'll give them a ring, make them think they're gonna get married, and all this type of bullshit. Never gonna happen. That's why you have those those brides be talking about they've been proposed to. Of course, you've been proposed to. It's just a placeholder, just a placeholder because some of the I mean, because there's so many things that can go wrong, especially if that sugar daddy or the person that they thought they leveled up to is married. A lot of times they got a lot of information on them, so they will, you know, place hold them, just to um, eh, they'll place hold them for a little bit, just so they can, you know, just buy time or whatever. If you got to give that bitch a ring, send her on a couple trips. That's fine. Especially if you have the means to do it. Yeah, that's fine. So so they get that experience, but I think a lot of them don't really understand. when they are dealing with those upper echelon men like that, I mean, they're one of many. You know, they're one of many. They're not. It's just it's just one of many. But that ego gets so inflated afterwards, especially when they get dropped. I mean, they're always they come back looking for that same feeling. So they're like, damn, Kevin, can you help me get that same? Because after I fucked up this one situation where I should have been the happy side bitch. Um, I need to get back into that situation because it every like, if you watch the show, every fucking one of them says the same fucking shit, saying the same shit. They say the same shit, um, and a lot of times I don't doubt that they may have got like, they might have been the side chick or a jump off to a dude of means, or might have been paying their bills for a little bit. Yeah, I could see that shit, especially if they're attractive. Yeah, I can see that shit. Even if they have kids, even if they have a whole bunch of baby daddy drama and all that I can see that shit. But they end up fucking up somehow. And it's usually because of the sisterhood or some better bird that's next to him. Uh, anyways, man, make sure you guys like this shit, man. Um, I'm just on here working, bored as fuck, chopping it up, chopping it up. But the Boyce versus Kwame thing is just, I don't know. It's to me, it's just a classic cool versus lame, and Kwame's a cool guy and Boyce is a lame guy. I mean, to me, there's really no substance to it. They're talking, when you listen to Kwame, he's basically maybe not in uh, he's basically saying some of the same shit that Boyce says, but um, in a just like I guess a different vernacular, different swag, different whatever. So it's perceived as cool. They talk about what do you call it? Group economics. Um, I think um, Boyce does it in like a more of a polished way because he gets like statistics and he gets Dr. Claude Anderson on there and Dr. Claude Anderson. I used to fuck with Dr. Claude Anderson. When I first you know looked at his book, I didn't read it all the way through, but the whole concept, uh, like what do you call it, paranomics. I fuck with that. But what I didn't like about him is basically um, some of the pitfalls of the community were caused by him, like niggas like him in the congressional Black Caucus, like basically the those type Negroes, to Jesse Jackson type, Al Sharpton type. He's one of them niggas, man. Don't fall into that bullshit. I mean, basically, he basically admitted to basically putting on the white woman on top with this affirmative action shit because he was with the Carter administration, and I think he might have been the doctor. I got to do some more research on that, but I think he might have been the doctor of affirmative action. But he is one of those guys, so that's why I don't really pay no too much mind to him because he's he he helped create this mess, and now he's like the moral authority to it, which I think is bullshit. But you know, niggas will follow anything. Sheep sounds good, but if you do read his content, when the with Powernomics and the meat and potatoes of group economics, he's right on point. I mean, he's right on point. It's undeniable. But now there's some, there's some dog whistling that he does, with, with different groups like the ADOS, was it FBA, like those type movements. He does some dog whistling for that shit. You can tell. Um, he does some dog whistling for old school Republicans. He does that. He does that. He does that dog whistling. You can hear it. Just listen to him. He talks about that a lot. You know, and uh, and what's funny about it is he comes from wealth. He comes from wealth, which might be a reason that we need to listen to him. But usually those type of people are you know are like what we call the bourgeoisie, the elitists. Like the elitist type people. They talk a good game, but they don't really want. They don't want. I mean, that's the same dude. He's the only black guy that lives in. I'm the only one watching. Damn, son. What's up, sir? Ism? Yeah, man. You're the only one, man. Ah, man. I go way too hard, way too real. A lot of people don't fuck with your boy, especially when I'm, monologuing and shit like that. But it's all good, man. Yeah. But I got the 5,000. That's all that matter. You already know. Anyways, man. Shout out to Sir Ism, man. Sir Ism. Get those likes up. Now, Sir Ism, man, he did a tremendous podcast the other day, and I think more people need to talk about that whole subject. I mean, he had some, I mean, you got to re-listen to that. I mean, I was a little soused, you know what I'm saying, because it was that type, that time, that was that type of hour. But we was talking about mental health and shit like that, and the stigmas that are attached to it, and it's very important because the thing about it is, man, it's really sad sometimes, man, when you hear the same story over and over and over and over, and the same story comes with a lot of dysfunction and trauma, and the thing about it gets brought to different generations over and over and over and over, and people don't like addressing it because there's so many different connotations to it, and it's an important conversation. It's not even therapy can be done in a multitude of different ways, and it's it's like it can be done a lot of different ways, and I guess because of some of the stigmas that yeah, I was on there, man. Yeah, I was. But no, there's a multitude of different ways that you can get therapy. It doesn't have to be you sitting in a room, spilling your guts or whatever, man. It's there's a lot of different outlets, and a lot of these guys, man, I seen it so many times, bro, that they they carry this 300-pound gorilla on their back, no with nobody to talk to, and and they carry that shit, they carry that burden, they carry that trauma, they carry all that stuff. What ends up happening, it manifests its way in a in a way that is self-destructive a lot of times. When people have like certain issues, when they have family issues, when they have daddy issues, when they have mama issues, when they have those type of issues, it manifests and unfortunately it manifests with the young black men in a way that ends up them doing time, and and they end up on that hamster wheel where they can't go anywhere, and then you'll have a situation, and I have many of these guys situations. Imagine if you got so much trauma in your life, you had so much trauma in your life, and you were being in prison or being behind those four walls is your safe space, you know there are people that, and you wouldn't believe it, that feel way more comfortable being locked up than being on the streets. That's crazy. And it sounds crazy, but it's real. It's a real phenomenon, man. There's a pathway to prison, man. Those are real phenomenons, and unfortunately, let me tell you a little story. I remember, growing up, my parents are Haitian, right? They didn't speak a lot of English, so I had to take care of a whole bunch of stuff, right? I'm first generation American. I was born in the States, right? So they didn't understand, because I mean, I lived in the hood. I mean, they didn't really I mean, I guess they didn't know I was Haitian. I don't know, but anyways, um, what they ended up doing, they try to diagnose me with something, and they said I was emotionally handicapped or something like that. I don't know, because I was a class clown. I would be trying to, I don't know, basically, I don't know. I was just a disruptor. I would be one of the persons that would, you know, clown, make fun of the teacher, make fun of people, just be just all over the place. I know I was a nuisance. Many teachers told me that, but that that I was a nuisance, right? So they put that diagnosis on me, right? Next thing you know, instead of me being in the classes with the regular with the regular kids and stuff like that, they like segregated me, you know. And and what was crazy, a lot of my friends or people that I grew up with, they were in the same similar situation. Was the class. No, there was the same situation, and then I'm like, all right, I understand I'm very disruptive, and now they're giving me work, right, level work that was like three or four classes or three or four grades behind, and I was like, well, and at the time I just couldn't understand. I'm like, well, if I have a problem disrupting class, just put me in isolation, and just kind of give me my regular school work, and because I was never a dumb kid. I always, whenever I focused on anything, I always got good grades. But what I started to really realize, and then you see those kids one by one, they start in like middle school, going to high school, going to jail, going to jail, going to jail, going, juvenile hall, doing this, doing that. And that was the pathway to prison. That was the pathway to prison, because every one of those kids that I remember in those type of classes or whatever were straight. I mean, most of them didn't even make it out. If it wasn't, I mean, a good thing for me, I played sports, so that kind of kept me in there. But if I didn't play sports and I didn't have my parent, man, listen, I would have definitely been in there, because I was, I was not out there, but I wasn't no saint. You feel me? Nah, black homie. Oh yeah. What do you put? Yeah, man. Salute you too, man. Yeah, bro. But it was one of those things, man. It was I saw it, and then unfortunately I forced my way out of, I mean, fortunately I forced my way out of it. I ended up going to college, went to college, did, spectacular. I got um, you know, good grades. I was able to um do a lot of stuff academically despite all that type of stuff, but I could have easily, easily been that in that same path. I could have easily been in that same path. And it was it and I'm not even lying. Damn near every one of those kids that I remember that were in, that they segregated and stuff like that, were basically on the pathway to prison. That's why if they reckon, I mean, it's a strategic game. And I started to do some research on it, right? And they almost know, almost down to not I mean, like, down to the percentage of how many people, and just basically statistics, how many people are going to end up in prison. They basically know it. There's a formula for it, and that's why it's so one of the top formulas for it. And I'm glad a lot of Manosphere people are really going in on this. Is a one parent household. It's I mean, you can get mad about it. You can, huff and puff and, say, oh, you niggas are broke or blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's an undeniable statistic that you can't deny. And that's why I think when the guys from Manosphere go and they go hard, I mean, even if we can modify those things a little bit, even in our community, it could make I remember on that podcast, we talked about the mental health, and we were talking about productivity and things like that. Even if you can make an incremental change in anything, it could have a tremendous result. I mean, even if we can make an incremental change, just to say in the uh, was it out of wedlock marriage? I mean, birth rate, make a 10% adjustment, man. You don't know how much that could do, because it's a trickle down effect. You know what I'm saying? If some of these women, if they I mean, they can wait, they can do whatever they want to if they do it responsibly. And let's just say, like, more women are like, within our community, start having kids while they're married. While they're married, I mean, it makes a tremendous difference, even if the person splits up, because at least the kid is going to see a two-parent household, which because when you have two incomes coming in, it changes the whole lifestyle. It changes all these things that you got to understand. When kids are little, I mean, they learn. They're like sponges. They see things. And the thing about it is like, when they go grow up in a single parent household, they see a lot of dysfunction. Right out the gate. And the thing about it is it's already ingrained, it's already imprinted in them, that dysfunction, and sometimes they can't really get out of it. Because we know relationships don't work out. It's just evident that when a child or a person has that two parent presence, it's just more. They just have a better chance. They have a better chance. And if you look at the you go on blackdemographics.com, they said that if, I mean, especially in the Black community, I think there was a 74% chance that you're going to live below the poverty line if you have a Black woman at the head of the household. That is, I mean, you basically, when you're born, if you're born and you don't have two parents, you're going to be poor. And poor people, especially in America, the education system are, they're at least 1 to 2 laps behind everybody. And if you ever try to play catch up, and it's a very frustrating thing. It's just like, but the only thing is some of them end up on the hamster wheel. They end up on a hamster wheel because that dysfunction manifests its way in different ways. It's just it. You have, like, for instance, you have young boys that have no male presence. They don't have no male presence, and you know how young boys are. They're always on the go. They always want to play. Uh, they're just always they're hyper. They always want to play, and then they don't have any way to channel that energy. When they don't have any way to turn that energy, they start doing destructive things. They start doing destructive things, and they don't. I mean, it's not their fault. When you're young girls, when they don't have that male presence around, they start looking for that male presence, man, and that and it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. Sometimes they end up in situations, it could be they seeking the male attention, of someone maybe much older, and then that's how you get, those situations where, people get abused. And I and it's crazy, man. It's crazy how those things happen, and when those children get abused like that, man. It's just a lot of times, man. It's a pathway for destruction. But I say this to say all this, and why it was important to have this conversation about mental health. It's a lot of times, man. Those small things, if they don't get talked about, they don't get addressed, they fester, and you have a situation where you have a dude doing 5-year bid, just because he had anger issues because his daddy wasn't around, and he didn't have anybody to talk to about it. You might have a situation where a woman becomes a lady of the night, and she's trafficked and or whatever because she got daddy issues. She don't want to talk to mama about it. She don't want to be judged, and they just manifest it in different ways. If you can go on social media right now, and if you can take a close look sometimes, it's like, um let's break down. Go on social media, right, and just look at some of your news feed, right, and you'll see like a person that's posting all day long, all day long. They could be just for attention, just for attention. It's like, why is that? Why is that? Why are you seeking that validation? Why are you seeking that validation? And a lot of times it's they don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have anybody to pay attention to them. They don't got nobody to guide them. They don't got all that type of stuff. So they start to get into destructive patterns and stuff. So that's one of the reasons, and they don't got nobody to talk to. So that's why mental health, in my opinion, is essential. In the development of any individual, because I mean, even Bill Gates, even the richest people, even the well-to-do people, they need somebody to talk to. They need stress relief. They need somebody to listen to. It doesn't mean that they're crazy. It just means that they need therapy. Everybody needs therapy, man. It's one of those things. I've been through therapy before, and it was because because a lot of people end up telling you about stuff that are lodged in the subconscious. You know, there's a lot of people. You don't know. I mean, you can because you could be doing so many things that you have no idea that you're doing, but you sit down and talk to somebody and you get an honest assessment from that person, then boom, they tell you, and then you can, and once you are aware of it, you can make adjustments. But some people go through life and they're not aware of major deficiencies, major things that are holding them back, and a lot of times you can only get that through therapy. You know, you can only get that through therapy. And there's people that are searching for different things in life. They're searching. They are searching everywhere. But the problem is they don't even know that they're searching. That's the dangerous part. It's like, how do you find or fix something if you don't know what the hell you're looking for? That's the thing. How do you do it? How do you do it? You can't. You got to know what you're looking for, and and again, with therapy, a lot of times that's why it's good to have therapy. You know, that's why it's good to have therapy. That's why it's good to really focus on your mental health. There's a lot of different ways that you can um, deal with mental health. Exercise. um, what do you call it? Depression, and not depression. I mean, I'm saying exercise. Exercise helps so much with depression. Meditation. I did. I mean, I don't meditate as much, but I've done it a couple times. Positive thinking, manifest. I mean, there's so many things that you can manifest, man. It's crazy, bro. We're marked. I mean, we're just magnets for success. You know, there's a great person in everybody. I really do believe that. There's sometimes it takes another person to see it. Um, there you always hear these stories about these famous people, and a lot of times they had no idea that they had a gift, and they were made aware of that gift by somebody. And a lot of times it wasn't a family member, it wasn't a friend, and 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 I talked about that before, man. You'll be surprised, man, when you um, get on your purpose and what you really need to be getting on. You should be prepared for not a lot of people to really support you in that purpose or support you in that journey. You're not going to get a lot of validation from people. I remember when I first started podcast and started doing all that type of stuff, man. I mean, people that I knew I was cool with, that I even interviewed and that I put on the show, they wouldn't even share it. A lot of times a lot of times you will not get the validation that you're looking for or you might want from individuals that are close to you. So you just have to be prepared for that shit. You definitely have to be prepared for it. And a lot of times it takes an outside source to really recognize the talent, you know. Um, Man, but shout out to Sir Ism again, man, for giving me my only like. You know, I haven't cracked the code for this live streaming thing. I think I really think it has a lot to do with my titles, because there's a lot of work that goes um along with that. And that's why maybe because, this is kind of a hobby for me. This is therapy actually. Now we talk about mental health and we talk about therapy and shit like that. This is kind of like therapy for me, but there's a lot of different things that you have to do in order to, trigger the algorithm. Also to just trigger the algorithm and it just to get more people on your live stream. You got to get people to like your live stream, and also you got to use the right keywords, right description. You got to you got to be able to talk about relevant topics. You got to be able to do a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Some and the main thing about it is consistency. um you know to be an effective content creator, you have to be very consistent. Got to be consistent, because YouTube sells advertisement, and they don't want to put content creators or anybody like that uh into their news feed, into their what's the name, that's not consistent, because it makes YouTube looks bad. You wouldn't want to employ somebody that shows up a little bit of the time or sometimes or inconsistent. If somebody's very consistent, you definitely want to um, showcase them, because uh, they you want to showcase them. You want to showcase them, because your customers, your people are going to be very satisfied, not satisfied, but what the boy, isn't that crazy right there? That's crazy. But anyway, boy. Yes, yes, yes. Anyways, man. But again, shout out to Sir Ism, man. I'm about to get off of here, man. I did a lot of rambling and talking and shit like that. Nobody wanted to jump on the panel, but I want to give an hour every day. Hopefully it'll grow to something bigger. But holla at your boy. I'm out.